Hello, all of you delightful beings out there, and welcome to the stream. I am Raw Zim, and this is 2 Point Museum. And we are using the TF Talkies today because they are fun. And I was lazy to set up the model stuff, so, you know, here we are. So feel free to transform me to your heart's content, everyone. We have found Wetlantis, so this is gonna be great, I'm sure. Delving deep below the surface into a network of gargantuan caves, the team finds an old shipwreck. Hunt for treasure. Seek and you will find, at least on this occasion, a giant treasure chest. Hooray! More money! Even though I'm actually doing really fine on money.
How are you? You're listening to Harrison Wolf on 2 Point Radio.
Really?
Ordinary for my liking. I'll come up with
Really,
something
Gieben?
unconventional while you listen to some conventional music.
Guests are stuck in the museum.
SMH. SMH. I really wish that we could, you know, change the... Oh, never mind, we can. Aw, thank you, Candy.
Attention. Thieves have been prevented from escaping. View.
Well, it doesn't look as good as what was already painted there, but I guess we can technically paint what we want. Problem is that I can't change that, and so it looks bad. Ugh. What am I adding here? I can't get rid of this? Really?
If you're unable to find a donation stand, feel free to give your money directly to me.
Wait, why can't they find donation stands? Oh, we got a Jasmine album. Cool. We'll put it right here next to the Roderick Cushion bust. Yeah. But in other news, I have apparently messed up the outside of my building here.
Everything has to be a party, okay?
Oh, hello there, Orca. How are ya? Okay, how do I get rid of this? Please tell me there's a way to get rid of this.
Guests are reminded that we are monitoring the exhibits. be on camera.
Oh, right, I could add zones to my people to make them work specific areas. We have Wetlantians. They are very noticeable. Though I kind of assumed that they would look more like fish people rather than, you know, humans just with armor. Oh god, it's so noticeable. Let me get rid of this.
While the toilets are not on display, they should be treated like they are. Thank you.
Please. Hello, Wing Zero.
Now, for something the news isn't telling you. One of my top sources believes that Bungle Technologies have been messing around under the county's surface. Says they've had these networks of tunnels for years, some of them as big as a bowling alley. So, what are they doing down there? It ain't bowling, my friends.
Announcement. Stolen exhibit has been retrieved.
Oh god, I'm making it worse.
Takes our stuff.
Okay, I need more security guard. Yo. Get this guy. Okay, so what we're gonna do is move the helicopters over here. We'll purchase this plot.
Tickets are for sale at the ticket booth, or they will be when someone starts working there.
We'll open this crate. Already got one of these. Oh, but what does the other one have for a trait? I suppose I'll leave it. It gives more knowledge. The other one deters criminal activity, but I think I'm okay with this one. Staying as is, you know. Also, when did we get this? Put you in there. Demon.
Attention. Donation stands are full of money and unable to hold more.
Okay, so we got that. We are now going to build a new building and cover up that horrible, horrible stuff. Yeah,
Thieves were caught
that
before they could
will
escape
that
the
will
next
resolve
minute.
this.
That was a close one.
Oh no. Wait, what?
Cafe food may taste cheap, and that's because it is.
One moment, everybody. I have been brought foods by a very good boy.
Guests should stop feeling paranoid. Unless you're a thief, you can keep going.
So how are you all doing out there? I hope you all are having a fantastic day.
When others get you down. When you just can't stand being around people. You need go-away holidays.
You require more... No!
With over 20
Bad demon.
remote, isolated destinations to choose from, we'll get you far away for total isolation and soul-nourishing silence. Go-away holidays. Voted Recluse's Getaway Provider of the Year.
There we go. Got that set up. We'll put a staff lounge in here. Just a small one. I require more pylons. Aw, sorry to hear that, Ido. But good to hear you're doing well, Frost and Kenku. At least you get to relax now, right, Ido?
Fossils are not boring, just dusty.
What even would be grass pylons? Oh. I'm sorry, Ido.
The museum hopes for less crime and fewer crimes. Does that make sense?
Not to worry, Asher will give many hugs to the Haboku. He will be cared about.
Thieves were caught before they could escape with an exhibit. That was a close one.
You are being cared about. There is no hope.
Ido Things tipped $10. Paint treat.
You know, I had a clever little line I was going to pull off, and then you threw that and threw me off, and thank you.
Museum staff may not listen to the radio while working. It's above our pay grade. Apparently.
Yeah, that timing, indeed.
Announcement: our conservation standards are being inspected.
I must wholeheartedly agree with Gib Gab there. You are indeed one of the kindest
So what do you
beings
think
around.
Bungle are doing underground, huh? I want to hear it. Personally, I think they're detaching 2 Point from the Earth's core so they can take the county wherever they want. But where? I'll keep digging up the dirt. Hold on tight.
Guests should treat old things with the respect they may or may not deserve.
Well, I can't really do much more to increase the well, actually, I can. I know what I'll do. Edit building. There. Now we'll move this down. Oh! That was not what I wanted to do. Mistakes. Actually, we'll make it bigger than what I was planning because
The exhibits. There's loads more where you came from.
we might have need of that space. But out of the way, now I can bump this up to 5. There we go. Put a chair there. Check. And now we can... I am so not used to here. Okay, let's go turn on streamer mode manually. Hello, KipCap.
What are you not used to hearing?
The Badoop of somebody joining voice while I'm streaming
We'll be asked to lighten up.
startled me.
Good. Actually, no, I'm gonna make me reactive here. So, I am gonna come in and say that I am going to exile myself. You will no longer be hearing of me. You can be thankful, for I have committed sins and crimes that are unforgivable. I have committed 2 grave offenses that I'd like to confess to before anything else.
Okay. Let's hear them.
The first one, and probably the most unforgivable one, is I was asleep and thus I didn't play with a puppy. I left my door because I went to make pizza, and I realized that she left the toy in front of my door because I remember waking up briefly and she had been pawing at the door. That's what woke
This
me
is your
up.
chance.
And so when I opened the door, I see the toy there and I'm like, oh no, she wanted to play with me. And it broke my heart, and I'd like to confess to the unforgivable sin of not playing with Puppy because I was asleep.
This is indeed a truly grave crime. However, you do seem to feel remorse.
But I have a possibly less terrible crime, but one that I think is not as easily forgiven.
Oh?
I defended Terran in terms of balance in StarCraft 2.
That one I have no opinion on. I don't know enough about the meta stuff that I could weigh in on that.
The short of it is that somebody was saying that the ghost needs to be removed, and I'm like, no, that will
Announcement.
destroy Terran.
Museum does
You
not
can't do
offer
it.
small
It just needs to be reworked.
That's all.
But it's also really hard to nerf it more because it already got nerfed really hard. But also not really nerfed capability wise, you just,
Vandals. All
Bleh.
vandalizing. We stopped them, obviously.
You just can't remove it because that would just... You don't have StarCraft then.
I mean, you can remove the ghost.
We can't know
Um,
what
it
Bungle
just-
are doing down there.
It has the
Heck, maybe they
particular
don't
side
even know
effect
what they're
of
doing. But one thing's
it
for
weakens
sure,
Terran a lot
the
because a
more
lot of
people know
capability is
what's
stored in
going
the
on.
ghost, which is my main
It's a
criticism
shame
of
they
it,
can't
that it's
listen to
too
the
good of a
show.
unit to have as a
First
single
another
unit,
reason to
because it
restart
provides
work on my
effectively a counter to
secret
everything
signal
that Terra
booster.
needs.
Sure,
If you're fighting
shocks me
Protoss,
a
it can
lot,
delete
but
Protoss
I
shields
won't
and
rest
just
until
snipe
I've
and put on
reached the
Protoss units, but you
moles.
just use it for the EMP really.
Harrison Wolf.
So it
over and out.
counters the Protoss shield mechanic with no counterplay, because if you make your shields better, they still just remove 100 shields anyway. So if you have an Archon that has 300 shields and 10 health, like 2 ghosts can just remove 200 shields from an Archon. Just zoop, there you go. Rip. And that's cringe. And then it counters all of Zerg late game units, and that's very fun. and totally balanced for Zerg. So it's like, meh. On one hand, it's important, but on the other, it's too much in one unit, and I hate it.
Hi again, Era. Bye again, Era.
Low prices. It's the gift that keeps on gifting.
Look on the plus side. I could have been talking about worse things. Like Mpreg.
Like not petting the puppy.
Exactly. Well, no, I pet the puppy. I just didn't play with her.
Still a horrible crime.
Which is why I must exile myself from the community.
I wouldn't say you need to go that far, because like I said, you do show remorse for your actions, which means that you can make up for it.
See, can I remove my role and ban myself? Sorry. Don't think I can. Tragedy. Also, quick curiosity. Where is that, like, editable icon thing that you posted for the reactors ages ago?
Somewhere in creator news, I think.
Not creator.
Attention, don't touch that.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. I couldn't find which of the channels it was. Oh, I don't know what the name here because I haven't done it forever. But I'll set off and do it later. I'll just use the bird for now. I need to.
What were you mumbling about?
That I'll do it later, but like with the other bird out because I haven't used the new one for that one. So I'll just use this one for the moment. But I need to make my icon say Gabby so people stop misspelling it.
Yeah, everybody, it's Gababy.
That works too.
Or Gobby.
Ga. It has an ah.
Yes, Arthur.
That's what I said.
The cafe.
I'm being respectful of your culture.
No, you're saying ah, but it's ah.
Gobby.
Ga. Ah. You gotta open your mouth and be ah.
Gobby.
Also, you don't have to elongate the H, just Gabby. There's one. It's one A. But yeah. In other news, I am
Museum
vibrating
security
in
are
excitement, and I
operating in
want.
this area. It's a bit tense, isn't it?
I mentioned Terminator Dark Fate Defiance, right?
No.
Basically, it's a Terminator RTS that uses like the Dark Fate lore instead, and it is way better than it has any right to be, given the movie's lore. Or the movie was kind of terrible, and I really enjoyed it. It straddles a really weird mid spot where it has two campaigns now. They put out the human campaign and they put out a Legion campaign because it's not Skynet, it's Legion. And it's really interesting because for the human faction you get like the variety of equal parts, like the kind of like scrappy, scrounged up resistance kind of vibe, but also you get some like proper professional military units. So on one hand you're riding like a technical with a 50 cal bolted on top of it, and maybe some armor plates made of steel that they put on it, and on the other you're rolling with like a proper modern main battle tank that has like a plasma heavy cannon put on it. It's like, that's cool, I like that. On one hand, your dudes are running around with RPGs and bazookas, and then on the other, you have like a Bradley with a modern anti-tank guided missile. And I love it. The human campaign's really brutal. It's surprisingly hard because it does the thing where if your units are alive, you carry them over between missions. Like, you don't really base build and stuff. You get given units, you scrounge up equipment, and it's cool, but it's hard because if you lose a unit, you lost the unit, you know?
This is a message from 2
So yeah, the
And given
XCOM mechanic there.
Kinda. You don't have as much
the
focus
county's
on
museums are finding
the
new
individual
exhibits.
units, which is probably the biggest problem with it, because you want to keep those
I'm
units
learning
alive,
more and
you
more
want them to
about
do things, but it's also
everything.
more typical
Oh, I
RTS in the
see.
control of units, so
No,
they're easy to
sorry,
lose.
one more time.
It's like a weird company of heroes XCOM mix,
Visit a 2-point museum today.
but without the base building.
Enlightenment
Company of heroes.
starts here.
And because of that, it's like you can just have a really bad mission and take a lot of losses and you're basically cooked. You're gonna have to reload, I'm sorry. There are ways to like do comebacks in a sense. A lot of the missions tend to either give you the units you need to fulfill parts of the mission, or you're able to like scrounge your way up during missions. But if you just lose too many important parts, you just have a huge gap in your army that you have to like make do without, and it sucks. So there's a lot of reloading, and the supply mechanics are brutal because you end up having to basically pay for what you're getting. You're gonna use tanks? Cool. They use a lot of fuel, they use a lot of ammo, and that's expensive to resupply. You better have the money for it. Infantry is really, really nice. It's surprisingly cost efficient. A main battle tank, very expensive. Go figure, who would have thought?
Collectors are
Not to buy,
reminded
just to
that
maintain.
They don't have to buy something, but you probably
But
will.
it has a lot of cool things. And what excites me is my problem with the campaign mode is that it gives you like that kind of strategic decision making where you have to pick like what parts of your army you want, what kind of things you want to do as the humans, etc. But the game ends, like the campaign ends, and you know, you stop playing, and I want more. Like it has the hint of a really interesting possible like freeform strategy mode, and I want it. And the machines come even closer to that because what they do is they stop focusing so much on each and every unit in the mission, and what they do instead is like, hey, so you can carry a small few units that you're probably gonna upgrade and keep up, but also like every mission you get given like this pool of points that you can buy units with. So every mission, you just buy a bunch of units and you carry a small core of units that you like protect with all of your care and love throughout all of the missions. And I'm sitting here like, I want this, but like with a conquest mode. And they're releasing one this summer, and I really, really want it. I want to like have that proper as the humans leading a full-on like little campaign against the machines and getting the experience TM. And I'm like, I want. Also, be right back. Pizza's ready.
Okay. Well, I was about to comment on that, but I guess he's gone.
You can comment. I'm still listening. I just need to not let it burn in the oven.
Oh, right, you do have a wireless headset. So, I am very intrigued by this. I had not heard that this was a thing coming out at all, and I want it too. This sounds amazing, and I love RTSs, and we need more of them. A lot more of them.
Do not worry about museum surveillance. There's a camera in here.
Many, many, many more.
Never mind. Pizza needs 2 more minutes. My normally accurate calculation was off by 2 minutes. I'm cooked. I can't cook pizza. It's so over.
It was
Can't
nice
believe I have
knowing
to
you.
wait 2 more minutes. You know, right? Sag.
You were awesome while you lasted.
My apologies. It's over. But yeah, like I said, I will only again caution that the game can be really brutal. It has it has some really cool stuff about it, and sometimes there are parts of it that I go like, why are you like this? It very much feels like XCOM sometimes when like, oh look, there's an enemy unit with I have perfect line of sight to. My unit is standing still. I am not going to miss. It's a guided, like it's a perfect shot with a guided missile. I'm gonna hit. And then it like swerves at the last moment, then you miss and you're like and because it's not turn-based, you can't just like rage out and reload the last turn. You just have to cope. And it's painful.
Definitely
like me,
sniffing
you're
that
gonna-
copium.
Yes, you will cope and see them molt super hard, guaranteed.
I don't think I'll molt. That's kind of an exclusive bird thing, but...
No, mald doesn't like MALD.
Oh.
Well, let me put it more like classic vernacular. You're gonna crash out.
Blink.
A little more classic, more like good vernacular. You're gonna like get angry and throw a fit if you're like me.
Reminded to brace for questions of
You're not like
Oh.
me, so you might not, but you're probably at some point gonna go like, "What did you miss?" But yeah, I recommend game. It's like normally it's about 40, but it'd probably go on sale this summer, which is where I would pick it up. I am 99% sure you'd enjoy more than anything the Legion campaign because it's really cool. I thought it was cool. I was just so saddened that it was as short as it was because I really, really, really wanted more. It's
Well, I'm assuming that it is not done yet.
sort of. The game as a whole isn't like they're planning to release more stuff. The human campaign is like a complete campaign. The Legion campaign was probably overpriced, so I would only get it on sale unless you really love the game that much, which is where I'd say just play the human campaign. But you want to play the human campaign anyway because you want to play first human and then Legion.
museum security are watching for your safety. Do you feel safe?
But they're like doing more stuff throughout the year. So like early in 20, it's like this in spring they made an update to the multiplayer and skirmish mode where they added some rebalancing. They added like a customization because the way they did multiplayer before is would depend like there's 3 factions. You would pick one and you would have these units that you could spawn in over the course of the match with points. But they were preset and they added like a unit customizer in multiplayer so you can kit out your army better in multiplayer, and that's kind of neat. And they did a bunch of like little updates and stuff. This summer they're supposed to release the Conquest Mode DLC and some other content stuff. I'm not sure what the rest of it is, but I know like the main bulk of this summer is supposed to be the Conquest Mode. And then this winter, I know they're releasing more story, but it is in the form of DLC. But they are releasing more story, and I love the game enough that I'm happy to do more. And like, it does make me. It's so weirdly makes me happy to know that they're sticking with the new movies timeline / universe, because as much as the movies suck, it is really interesting to see where they're going with it, and without like being tied to some of the previous stuff in the Terminator movies, they are really hammering home like, hey, you know what? We can play with this. And I kind of love it that they're like actually going into the trenches with it. Like for example, one of the things they did, if you are fighting the Terminators, like the very basic Terminator units, the homunculi, they're very slow, but they're tough. But it's great as humans because what you do is you pick them off. If you set up in a fortified position or if you have range, you just pick them off and they die and they don't get close to you. And that's the ideal. If you get into close quarters with them, like if you're occupying a building and somehow they manage to sneak up on you, or they just surround you and they just plug walk up to the building and you can't kill them all, in melee they basically win every time. Because like, yeah, it's a weird robot death machine thing. Good luck meleeing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you get some of the more advanced Terminators, because there's a few of them, it's literally like, oh, what do you do with these guys? They have a charge ability. What does it do? You pick up spot on the map, and when they get to within a certain distance of that spot, they charge toward that spot, and if there's infantry in there, they just kill it. It's just like basically an insta-kill. They just start like whacking people in the circle. Because it's like, yeah, it's a Terminator. It's a death machine. Don't go into melee combat with a death machine. And got like, playing as the machines, having the more advanced Terminators is amazing, because when you use like the basic models, they are tough, but they're like you can kill them, just like with infantry arms. Like you use a heavy enough machine gun and you can just kill them. with the really advanced ones, you borderline want to use anti-vehicle weaponry. Like, you hit one with a bazooka instead of a gun, because like you hit them with everything you've got with guns and they don't really deal damage. You gotta hit them with anti-tank weaponry and then they die relatively frequently. But it feels so sick seeing like a dozen men in a squadron on the, well, like it's more like 8. Like you'll see like for the cheaper infantry units on the human side for the movement, there's like 8 infantry units in a squad. And you'll have like 4 of them shooting at just 3 of your advanced Terminators, because there's 3 in your squad, and they don't kill them. They like, you see them take damage, but they don't die. Maybe they kill one of them, and you just get up into melee and wipe out all like 4 of the movement squads, and it's like, oh, that feels so sick. They're actually dangerous. Got the machine tanks as well. They're cool. They're so slow, they're so tanky, and they're so cool. I love them. They really stuck their guns on some of the movie stuff, and they changed around some of the stuff, and I love it. Just, I don't know. It's one of my darling ideas.
I have not actually watched the new Terminator movies. And for the old ones, it's been so long since I last watched those. I need to again.
I'm just a big fan of the first one and the second one primarily. The third one I enjoy because like it's a movie I watched a lot as a kid, but I don't like it as much. Salvation is both under and overrated. The people that really love it too much in my opinion. It's not that great of a movie. But people hate it sometimes just because it's new Terminator and new Terminator is bad or whatever. And honestly, I think there's a lot of cool stuff they did with it, and I really enjoyed it. And Dark Fate is kind of just terrible. But also, like, I did like Genesis. Genesis I thought was better than it is, but I like it. Which is, to me, like, the important thing. I have fun watching that movie. I kind of wish they'd continued more on it, but no, you know. It's not a great movie, but I had fun.
I mean, ultimately, isn't you having fun the most important thing there?
Mm-hmm. That's why, like, I draw the differentiation between, like, so for example, with Dark Fate I thought was meh. I didn't really get hooked on it. 3, I have fun watching parts of the movie, and other parts I think are kind of meh.
Not to think too hard about their route through the museum.
Salvation
Oh no, I shouldn't have said
is a
that.
mix. There are some parts that have me just absolutely going like, oh, this is so cool. And then there are parts where I'm like,
Returning from 2.C.
pass. I want to skip that part of the movie. And Genesis is the one where, like, I will watch the whole movie. I know there are parts where I'm like, oh, this is so bad, but also like, God, I love it. This just makes me nerd out so much. It's good slop. There we go. Genesis is fun slop. It's kind of slop. 2 is still like my favorite. I did have a lot of appreciation for 1 when I watched it a while ago, just because like there's just something really spicy about the proper horror movie. It's like, yeah, it was originally a horror movie, not an action movie. Then pivoting into action properly in the second movie is wild when you like watch them back to back, and it's like, wow, it's a really different movie. But I love it. I love the little variety. I think it's cool.
Hold up. The original Terminator movie was supposed to be a horror movie?
Well, yeah. That's effectively what it is. It's a disguised slasher film.
The old-fangled magic of
Huh.
wave
Never realized or thought of that.
I mean, it's partly because the Terminator isn't really scary. Until like the very like
breathe deep.
For a lot of
Say
the
to
movie,
yourself,
it's
"I'll
hard,
go and double-check
I
that
think,
locked my car."
nowadays to find it scary. But if you put the premise in really simple terms, you have an unfeeling,
Not all that.
purely determined, borderline invincible, perfect killing machine hunting you. It has the resources and ingenuity at its disposal to effectively come up with a gazillion ways to kill you. It does not rest, it does not eat, it does not sleep, it just wants to kill you. It has a mission and that's it. And it spends the entire movie trying to do it to like some random person who just like is tired and works their job and then suddenly is thrust into the middle of this. It's basically a slasher film. You could, in theory, like take the Terminator and place him with Jason Voorhees and the movie would kind of work in terms of like that vibe. And that's an important point to make because that is it is something that the other films don't capture, which is partly on purpose. Because, well, like Terminator 2 is an action movie fundamentally. It's just that the Terminator 1 has some really interesting action scenes because I think of the horror. Because, like, for example, the police shootout scene in Terminator 1 in the police station, it's really sick. But also, so much of the film is preceded with little to no action that when you actually get to it, it's a highlight. It's really cool. In Terminator 2, like half of the movie is shootouts and explosions and chases. So the individual action scenes, while better, aren't nearly as much of a highlight. And instead, I think there's like an interesting duality where in Terminator 1, the highlights of the film are a lot of the more set piece actiony sequences, in particular like the police shootout and the final chase at the end where they finally blow away the Terminator's skin and you get like the pure robotic stop motion-esque animation that makes it look really creepy and unnatural, and that's really cool. And she gets chased into like the industrial part, and that's where you get the full serial killer of like, yeah, the Terminator's damaged, yeah, it might have literally lost half of its body to basically a pipe bomb, doesn't care, still gonna try to kill her, will literally crawl through industrial machinery just to get to her. Peak serial killer right there, or peak slasher right there.
I suppose. I don't know. I just never thought of it like that.
Guests are prepared for certain
Yeah,
levels
like I said,
of
if you ever
arousal.
rewatch it, take a close look at it. You'll probably realize because it is. It's what, like an 80s slasher film basically, but different, which is what makes it cool. And then on the flip side, you just have T2, which is, I think some of the more interesting scenes are the quieter ones. Particularly because it does really good action, so all of it is good and fun. But then you get like, for example, the part where he like melts through the bars and you have the little mental facility shenaniganery where it's relatively quiet, but you do get like the action-y vibe. I think that's cool. It's like a weird low-key action thriller-esque vibe. And it's sick. And then the quiet moment with like the Terminator learning to be human, which is fundamentally one of the questions of the film, like, can a machine be human? Like, what makes us human, effectively? If a machine can, in theory, feel and act certain ways, does that make it more or less human? Can the Terminator be a sort of father figure for John Connor? You get the more, like, personal questions to ask in terms of, like, what makes us human, what makes a machine a machine. And while the movie's obviously from ages ago, so a lot of the questions don't necessarily age compared to Discourse, it was one of the movies that kind of pushed those sorts of ideas, and I think it's interesting. Can a machine smile? What does smiling mean to a machine? You ever thought of that? Like, because in the movie, he just analyzes the motion and tries to make it. But it's only later as he starts to, like, observe humans that he learns when you smile, why you smile. Or like he says, I now know why you cry. And it's like, yeah, the machine learned. It hit so hard.
Fair enough. Like I said, it's been a long time since I last watched it. So, I'm probably not remembering things.
Yeah, it was weird because I thought I knew T2 well, and then I watched it again and I was like, wow, I feel like I missed half the movie. Now I know it decently well because I've sat down and thought about it a lot, but yeah.
Yep, that thinking about something is terrifying.
I think a lot more than I let on. But that's the problem. That's why all the impulsive thoughts come out, because I think a lot, and then I just say the things I think.
Think the things you think are things.
Board are reminded that
Exactly.
they're not all that.
By the way, for those of you out there that may be putting in some staff, I need science experts. So, make it so. At least, you know, if you want to get into the, be a staff in the museum, you know.
Good morning, I'm Chef Ricky, and Flavortown is the place that I...
Okay, we are not going there. I do not want any of my staff going MIA. Thank you, game. Instead, we'll go to the Bigfoot Gardens.
The other day, I was perusing through my cookery books and was struck by a tip from DJ Sous Chef. A complete bite contains sweet, savory, slimy, sour, and crunchy. It's a great way to think about eating. Lately, I've been crumbling crackers all over my meals, and I'll tell you what, oh, it's been crunchy.
What did I just
Prior
complete?
to making your donation, we'd like to remind you that all this stuff does not come cheap.
I think I just completed something.
Attention, thieves have been prevented from escaping. Phew.
Yeah, we got the knife from the Wetlantian cutlery set. Though I am very confused because these things are huge. Dude, the Wetlantian, like, are the Wetlantians not, massive? Because the ones that I'm seeing in the museum are not this big.
Good luck to our team departing on an expedition. I'm sure you'll need it.
And hello there, Seamus. How are you?
Prepared for certain levels of monotony, but they're not prepared for this.
Alright, Dido. Rest well. Thanks for coming by.
Expedition team leaving for thorough investigation. They may be some time.
Remember, you guys can sign up to be a staff member in my museum. I am looking for science and also looking for botany experts. So please sign up to be one. Just hover over the screen and you can get yourself in the game. Yes. Indubitably.
minded to explain things slowly and loudly.
What did you do, Seamus?
I believe Seamus slayed the dragon.
Expedition.
Ah, I see, I
Fetch the
see.
crowbar.
Maybe, minus the S.
Ah, pristine quality, mother of all Really? It's boring? God damn it. I was so excited! I finally got what I was looking for, and it's boring. Ugh!
Pain.
Agony. Suffering.
Suffering.
Attention. The expedition team are leaving now.
You know the last one.
Please say goodbye and good riddance.
Come on.
Despair.
No, it's anguish.
Can't relate. I like the word despair. Man.
Ah, fair enough. Bit more than 3 hour both way on a bike to get to attend a supper for your mom's 72nd birthday. Nice. But that is a very long fucking bike ride for it. Jeez. You couldn't get an Uber? Or something?
I assume with bike you mean like a pedal bike, not a motorcycle.
That is what I'm assuming as well.
Disinterested guests are reminded that not everything has to be a party, okay?
Oh no, the Gib Gab is chuckling.
I'm sorry. I just read the message. I was eating pizza. Yeah, secretly bought the bike 2 weeks ago without telling anyone for the purpose of being at that supper. Could have had older sister pick him up, but refused since she is a big danger on the road.
Fair enough.
For an unlimited time, Roach Burger
My older
meals
sister
now include
drives
a free
good, but she
Roach
drives
Burger
very
character
aggressive.
for free. Collect them all by eating here constantly. There's the Roach Burglar, Sally Salt, Admiral
Thank you.
Ketchup, Gurney,
For the compliment.
and the rest. Remember? They're back, and this time it's for good.
Expedition complete. So, what's in the box?
But yeah, TLDR, just a little bit of background to finish it, because I remember the train of thought that I was in. Terminator Dark Fate Defiance, good RTS, I like it, would recommend getting it on sale. And if you don't get it on sale, I can get it for you, because I would be fascinated to see you play the Legion campaign in particular.
I'm not sure I like how you put that.
I could easily see you becoming a bit frustrated throughout the game with the way the human campaign is set up. Not story-wise necessarily, just it can have elements of frustration that are very understandable. It's not really made for everyone. Like it's not a mass appeal RTS kind of thing. Zalik is, well, it's just a little different. And I think the Legion campaign fixes a lot of the frustrations, and I had a lot of fun playing it. I was very glad I did. At first I was like, I don't know how to feel about this. But then as the campaign went on, I was like, oh, I see where we're going here. I love this.
Fair enough.
Also, it's really cool. It left with an ending where I'm still molding at the ending. It hit me with the WoW tradition style ending where I'm like, I
Not
need
like
to wait.
last night. 'Cause last night I did awful.
I never said that.
I was mid. I know enough of your Zoomer lingo or whatever you call yourselves to know what that means.
I never use the word mid because I don't think it applies. It was a good
Hey,
session.
CJ.
Hi. Actually, does it have a difficulty mode? I know, right? The game does have uncle vibes.
What the fuck does that mean?
CJ said, ugh, calm down.
As far as I am aware, I am not yet.
I didn't say you were, you said you have the vibes.
I still have no idea what that means.
Don't worry about it. Okay, good. I didn't remember what difficulty I played the campaign as a humans. I played it on medium. If you ever play it on normal. Don't play it on medium. Not worth it. Even if I'm totally itching to sit around and play this game at a realistic difficulty someday.
It's fantastic value. Isn't that strange?
Yes, they do. So that's the problem, CJ, with this in particular and the way it is, especially for the human campaign, because your units matter and you want to keep them alive.
Expedition team have returned with something special.
But
about
it puts you, like, to me at least, because I like keeping my units alive. I'm not someone who will willingly, in these kinds of games, I don't willingly just throw out units. I like having units that build up veterancy, experience, that get better, and I like specializing them and giving them names and stuff. Like, I like it. I think it's neat. And
Ricky Hawthorne on 2 Point
part of the
Radio.
problem is that
You're back with Ricky.
you blink
when it's
and look
time
away
for
and
a
your units
story
die.
From the Book of
if you play at a harder difficulty.
Nowadays, I get bored so easily.
So you kind
even
of
with a
end up
talking
having to make some
microwave
really
and
interesting
more
choices.
scarves than
So for me, for example, my solution to that was when the game would give me a bunch of units, I would use them to attack. Um, I would save my good core units for defense because A, they were really good at it, and B, it's much easier to keep them alive on the defense. You know, they're in cover, they're in buildings, they're in good positions that I think are safe, and I use them like they see heavy action. They get a lot of kills and they do a lot of damage, but I use them primarily on the defense. And I only really spec out a couple of units for offense because I need them to do specific things. Like for example, I really liked using the ranger units to like sneak them around enemy lines, lay down mines, and like whenever enemy reinforcements would travel down a road, I then just activate the mines or the C4. That felt really cool. But like having a lot of the units that I would otherwise sell or throw away, I would use them to attack because then I can afford to lose them because I don't really care about them. And the ones that do survive, that get a lot of veterancy, that manage to like pull through, or a few units that I get attached to because I go like, wow, you pulled out a massive clutch. I'm so happy. Those units I would keep around. So yeah, I built up the army, but also like, yeah, it's really hard. So I ended up basically doing like, I don't care about you. You're going into the meat grinder. I care about you. You will be safe forever. I will die to keep you alive. My boys. Also, the helicopter's overrated. Only the Black Hawk is good. And they're so hard to use. Also, the artillery sucked. The HIMARS is not worth it in the game. The Paladin was way better. Also, say my save scummed a lot. Is that you right now? Just happy thoughts. Think happy thoughts. Don't think about being an uncle.
Oh, I'm looking at the latest Furvis ref sheet whip that I just got.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's enough of those.
Is he hotter now?
I would say so.
On.
Why are you calling me that?
It just fits. It just works.
How?
It just works. It just works.
In my youth,
That's such a
we'd
banger
make
song.
do with anything. I still remember those long days at the racetrack playing chicken. Of course, we called it chicken as horses were in short supply, and it was custom to ride several chickens dressed in a trench coat. Oh, I miss those chickens.
Guests touching electrical exhibits will be shocked by what they find.
Okay, I love how the top of these, the toilets here, they have them with cell phones. Because as we all know, when you go to the restroom, you're really just going in there to use to look at your phone. That's all you're doing in there.
Thieves were caught before they could escape with an exhibit. That was
I
a
think
close
we
one.
should just take advantage of that and replace all toilet paper with phone chargers.
I'll disagree on that because toilet paper's got quite a few uses, but I will agree that, yes, more bathrooms need phone chargers.
Well, we can just replace the toilet paper with ghosts.
Kip Cap? No.
Ghost toilet paper.
Kip Cap? No. Kip Cap bad.
Yes. I mean, look, all I'm saying is, having a ghost homie out in the home would be based and epic and poggers. Like, imagine you're gonna go to sleep and you forgot to turn off the lights and you just ask your ghost, or like, yo, can you turn off the lights? And he just like... Or like, somebody's knocking at the door and bothering you, you just ask them to scare them off. Having ghost friend would be cool. The only problem is the complete lack of privacy, because walls don't matter anymore. But hey, you know, I mean, if it turns out you and the ghost got that kind of, that could totally be poggers, you know?
Not going to question, not going to question. It's just Kip Cap being Kip Cap. I am having fun, lots of fun putting down things. Yes, the game is fun. I am having so much fun. Hooray, hooray.
The other day you asked me if I was filtered, so I just decided to like be a little less filtered today, you know?
Huh.
Siricon, I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean with having proper walls and doors in the toilets.
I think Sirio might be referring to full floor-to-ceiling ones, which, yes, please.
Oh, like in like bathroom stalls and stuff?
Yeah. I'm assuming that's what you're referring to, but yeah, I would very much appreciate that.
Yeah.
Especially being as tall as I am. Some stalls I've been in, like my whole head and shoulders go above the top of the stall. And it is so fucking awkward.
Just know if someday I end up seeing you IRL, I'm gonna have to like tilt my head back and look up.
Yes. Yes, you will.
It's gonna be really funny.
$2'5"? What?
I think if you add the 5 and the 2 together, you're getting closer to Zim's height. You're
Well,
like
yes,
6'6", right?
exactly, Sirio. Exactly. And yes, 6'6".
No, if you add the 2 and the 5, you get 7. You don't put them together, you add them. I was specific about my wording. SMH.
Drink at alarmingly
Yeah, you're like
affordable
making it
prices.
it's weird. Also, and then I'm the one who doesn't have a filterism.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What Sirio says. SMH.
I see nothing wrong with what Sirio said.
Allowing that in your Christian server. No, because those weren't specified as characters. They were integers in the context of referring to height. You would print like the foot variable Well, I mean, you can just like make one large thing, but you would probably have like a foot and inches calculator in general. And so you would just print out like the first one and then a string of foot and then the second variable that's a number and then the other little string for inches. So there was no determination that these were characters rather than a number variable of some kind.
We're nearing the end of today's show. So, what's next?
Oh, so I can just set up these outside. Interesting
Heading
idea.
back to the Orb Foundation's Museum of Spherical Goodness to learn more about
What,
this
just setting up outside?
almighty orb I've been hearing so much about.
Oh,
Listen to
I
me.
discovered that I can
So,
put my plants
go learn a
outside.
thing or two, won't you? Tell them Professor
I thought they
Ricky
had to
sent
be inside the museum, but
Botany
no.
exhibits should not be turned into meaningful
Well, plants are
summons.
nice.
What was that?
Plants are nice.
Plants are nice.
There's one thing I'm happy to not miss from home. There's a lot of greenery in a lot of parts of the city. Like, I hated being a giant asphalt and concrete hellscape. And I hate that closer to, like, downtown area, obviously there's not quite as much greenery as I'd like, but even then there's a lot more greenery than I expected and it makes me happy. I've seen a lot of other
yeah.
cities and it's like, wow, there are no trees, that's just sad.
Yeah.
Just depressing. I love plants. I almost dropped my pizza.
Announcement. Exhibit quality may vary from pristine to rubbish.
Oh, there you go. You got a new talkie ADM.
Oh. You know, I do like that idea. I'll add it to the list.
I just saw plant wolf and I'm like, yep, that's all like a Zimtaki. I just looked it up. Zimtaki. Oh god, that's really weird. I'm looking forward to Monday.
Announcement. Analysis complete.
Why?
Just like that.
Learn anything good?
Here you are.
Ah.
Because I momentarily sat here and, like, I said plant thing, and then I got reminded that, okay, I've been playing Digimon World DS again, because that was my childhood Digimon game. And I legally downloaded on a Nintendo console, even though that console looks, acts, and is kind of my phone. I own the game though, I can't be judged actually. Did I ever own the game? I did own the game. Yes, I did. Definitely.
Well, you do have to currently own it.
I probably have it around there somewhere, I just can't find it. My DS games are a bit of a mess. I keep them all in a little bag, but you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably stored there somewhere. But yeah, I booted up the game, and
To the cafe.
it was
That's where you worked.
exactly as terrible and tedious as I remember, which is to say I love it. Because it was a childhood game, so I just excuse a lot of those faults because it was my childhood game.
Please join me in saying
or one of them.
farewell to the expedition team.
And
They may never come back.
I actually... So basically, when I was a kid, I used to love picking Koromon.
Announcement.
Did it turn into
Stolen
Agumon?
exhibit
And
retrieved from
you know how in
no one takes our stuff.
Data Squad they reworked like some of the evolutions into like, so it went from like Gabumon being the normal one to like Gaomon, and then they switched from like Agumon evolving into Greymon into like Rise Greymon and stuff.
I did not follow all of that, but I did follow at least some of it.
Well, like, because Agumon is normally meant to evolve into Greymon, right?
Yes.
But in Data Squad they introduced Rise Greymon
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and or Geo Greymon, Rise Greymon, that stuff. So like they changed that around a bit, and you can see that in the game. And I used to love Picky Coromon because it evolved into Agumon, and the Digimon show that I watched when I was younger was Data Squad, so obviously Agumon was cool. But my initial gripe with the game is that the Mega Evolutions for the Data Squad Digimon don't exist. So you can't get a like Shine Greymon. You can only get to Rise Greymon, and you can only get to like Mac Gagumon and not the Mega. So you only get to Ultimates if you pick those ones, which is sad because they were cool. And since I didn't really like that, I used to not like Greymon and the rest of the evolutions because I had grown up with Data Squad, and I used to like Agumon more than I did Gaomon. I didn't pick Gabumon, and instead I would pick the plant one, and I'd go for the Togemon evolution line, the cactus line. Which I think ended up in Rosemon. I don't remember. And then later on, when I'd played in the future, I would pick Gabumon because I liked it more. Because then I wasn't like the, like you always pick the same thing, so then you end up picking something new and you also really like it, and that becomes your default. I did that with Gabumon for a bit, and then I switched to really liking Togemon. So I would pick the plant. And it's been ages since I'd played, and I usually just pick the plant Digimon out of nostalgia a lot of the time. And then for once in a lifetime, I picked Agumon again. And I'm like, wow.
Imagine
Greymon
a
is kinda
place
cool,
filled
actually.
with things you could never afford. Whoa. Countless, priceless artifacts from every corner of the world. Oh. Locked
So I
away
just
for
side thought that I
safekeeping.
just realized when I said plant that like I just hadn't
Well,
actually picked the plant
keep
Digimon when I
imagining.
played Digimon World DS.
Oh. Jumbo Museum.
Also, spoiler alert suggestion: if you ever decide to play those games for
The
any reason, don't play
museum for
Digimon World
big
Dawn and Dusk
spenders.
first. Play DS first, even though it's slightly inferior and very buggy. It has this weird, annoying bug where sometimes if you start to do dialogue, the dialogue box just gets stuck and you have to reload the whole game.
I did play those years ago.
Yeah. Although I still think at this point it's not worth playing. It's better to just play like Cyber Sleuth.
Expedition team are departing.
Well, see, honestly, Serial, I haven't beaten Dawn and Dusk because I always bounced off of the games, but because like I would have the weird gripes that coming from World. So like for example, I used to gripe about the fact that when you evolved, you would go back to like level 1 and you had to level up all the way again instead of just being at a higher level. Or like I would hate that you would have to like de-evolve and re-evolve a few times to sometimes get some of the evolutions and stuff. Like I saw those as negatives.
Oh,
But
the
now
DNA Digivolve requirement.
Those two. Because like evolution was weird and complicated and I didn't like it. And I still think
anybody
Cyber
did.
Well, but now I'm curious to try it because my main gripe nowadays is that I feel like it's really easy to evolve too quickly. Like, I played Cyber Sleuth and it's like, wow, they have an ultimate Digimon. They're dangerous, careful. As I sit here with like 5 champion level Digimon and an ultimate Digimon already. And I'm like, wow, yeah, it's so dangerous. This combat is gonna be... Oh, I already won.
Sale at the ticket booth.
And I was actually kind of curious of like doing that in Dawn and Dusk would kind of improve that core loop / flow of gameplay, like getting to de-evolve, re-evolve, because they don't usually become that much weaker, because as you like re-evolve again, like you get more stats. So I was like, maybe I underrated this and maybe this is actually kind of like good. I'm not sure. Like, I might like it, I might not. I don't know. I don't know about the DNA one. The DNA evolution seems annoying. But at the very least, like, getting to play around more of evolving and de-evolving might work out better. And I like that idea. So I want to try it. But I want to go through a DS first. Because I remember really struggling with the final boss of Digimon World DS, and I'm still salty that I don't know if I ever really beat it because I can't remember. So I want to go back and whoop its ass just like for the sake of completionism in my life, you know?
Go for it.
That's what I'm doing.
We shall put a duck hedge right there.
Duck.
Quack.
Also, to be fair, CJ, that just honestly depends. Like, I can kind of see it, but also I got kind of lucky in that a lot of the Digimon that I evolved and wanted evolved didn't require basically any grinding. I was just able to mostly get them on a first go, so I didn't really have an issue with that. Also, I've had the see, because of a Digimon World DS, right? I didn't really like Birdramon. Because Akilamon is the one you find pretty early on, and I didn't really see Birdramon. So when I saw Biyomon evolved into Birdramon in the early anime, I was like, ugh, I don't like that bird. I like the other bird. The other bird looks cooler. But honestly, I've come around to Birdramon a lot in recent times. Even like Kokotorimon, I used to not like it because it looked weird, but like, it actually is kind of cool looking. I dig it. It was one of the first Digimon to show up in Data Squad. Pretty sure it's the first one. The like big, weird, scary Digimon. Also, I love seeing how much your chat is nerds for Digimon.
We would sell more tickets
Same.
if someone worked in the ticket.
I mean, I know it's obvious, like, to some extent, because, like, yeah, Digimon cool, but on one hand, I see we started talking about Digimon, and the viewer count just started climbing up, and CJ and Serial entered nerd mode, and I'm like, hold up, maybe Sim was cooking with all the Digimon campaigns.
I will say that I was very surprised by that. Legit. I was not expecting the Digimon campaigns to go over as well as they did. It's like, I know Digimon is popular, but was not expecting it to be as popular as it was.
It's fine. I mean, I figured, like, the Pokemon campaigns would obviously be the, you know, bigger, but no, I guess not. I don't know how they compare, but, like, I just like them both.
Also, guys, I've got the recruitment open. I need botany and science experts,
Rumors of a secret
please.
exhibit under the museum.
They won't let me volunteer.
Are purely speculative.
Why not?
Oh, never mind. I figured out why.
Oh. I was like, it should.
What do you need?
Botany and science experts.
Oh, none of these icons are cursed enough.
Ideally with survival for botany.
Nice.
And yes, I did hire them, Kenku. Yeah, Sirio, Digimon is very content starved. I just still didn't expect it to be as popular.
Oh well, no survivor. Yeah, like, I mean, I guess that's kind of like the probably also what helps. Like, there's a lot of Pokemon content if you go looking for it, but Digimon is like, smells like Digimon content. Finally, we can eat.
Guests are reminded that science makes
But also, like, yeah, because
conclusions based on
like, don't get me wrong,
observations.
I've seen a couple of like Digimon TTRPGs that really try to handle a lot of the like little mechanics of Digimon, and they can often get a little like complicated in that aspect.
Feel the backhand of justice.
And in a weird way, I think Scar kind of helps with that, because one of the other ones that I saw back in the day handled evolution in the sense that you'd get a lot more power. Like, you were a lot stronger when you evolved. If we're going for like the temporary evolution rules in Scar, the temporary growth steps, it's only 2 attributes, right?
It is
Plus,
2
like, the
attributes
extra HP.
plus extra HP, yeah.
Right. Which, it does make a difference, but depending on which part of Digimon you're looking at, I can understand if it's also like kind of less like, you know, you sometimes Digimon go from like rookie to champion, and they go from the cute little bird to like, I will rain meteors down on this city and everyone will die, and you're like, oh, that's a little power spike.
Yeah, I wanted to avoid too much of a power spike because you got so many different forms, so many different ways to go. You can already get very much far in there as is. Or like, you know,
Please don't mention us to your friends.
yeah, it's normal in Digimon and the anime and such, but it is bad in games. Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
Vandals. Caught vandalizing.
And like,
We stopped them, obviously.
I think there's room to play around with it. Because, like, for example, I would be curious that we haven't done it yet, so I'm curious to see how it goes. Because the extra HP and attributes might do more than I think they do. But I can definitely see if there's room to be like, oh, well, you know, depending on how we want Digimon Evolution to feel in the campaign, if it's meant to be like a significant enough difference, you could be like, oh, well, you know, on top of that, get like a +1 to your combat rolls, like an extra die to your attacks, and to be a damage or accuracy, just like make it spike a little bit more, or like give it a little bit more boost, especially if it's meant to be like, oh, when you enter combat, you're probably going to switch to your strongest form, or the strongest form that you're able to take in the area. And there's obviously the question of like how, for example, how big are Digimon evolutions? Because different shows will like have them be different sizes. Are they gonna be like trampling through city streets big? Are they gonna be like, yeah, they're gonna be uncomfortable in a normal room where they might have to like duck their head under the door? So it'll depend both on the form and the Digimon and the practicality of it and such. And I think it's interesting that it can be like toyed with and like played around with. But fundamentally, I kind of like what Seriocon said about Dawn and Dusk, and I think that applied to Scar works really well, where, like he says, in Dawn and Dusk, you can theoretically just grind your rookie Digimon to have better stats than a lot of Ultimates. Because that is a part of like Digimon as well, like a Digimon can become stronger in any form, to the point where you can have like, not just the power difference between forms, but also between Digimon. You can have like some rookie Digimon that are really strong, just by like the species, by Digimon, and some individuals who are really strong in spite of, or notably so for, their like Digimon species. And
Well,
I think Scar gets that across well.
Another part of it is also, like, if you watch any of the animes, they all digivolve at different times.
Expedition team returning from underground.
You never have... You don't have, at least not that I recall, you don't have any of the Digimon just all go to champion suddenly. It is, okay, first Agumon digivolves into Greymon. And then later on, you've got Gabumon becoming Garurumon. And I did not want that power spike to be so drastic that those that had not gotten their... I didn't want evolution to be so drastic that people felt like they were being left out. Like they were being held back just because they hadn't had their growth moment. I wanted to avoid that feeling. I wanted to make sure as much as possible that those, as we call them, growth, that it is impactful. If you are evolving in Pokemon, digivolving in Digimon, whatever, I wanted it to be impactful. It's a story. But if your particular growth is being overshadowed by everybody evolving because, oh, suddenly that's a huge power spike, where's the fun in that? Where's the story? And yeah, Serio, you are correct there. But you were gonna say?
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, that's partly why I haven't commented on it much. Partly because I want to see how it feels, and partly because I'm sure it was meant to level out that spike. Because yeah, like you said, because you're working together, I think it's safer and probably better to assume that it is probably harmful to the overall scene to have one player spike really hard, because effectively it'll mean whomever gets to evolve is going to dominate the scene. It makes more sense if, for example, everyone gets a form at the same time, for X, Y, or Z lore reasons. Like effectively, oh, your team reached a high enough rank, you can have access to your next forms. Then that makes sense. Especially for Digimon, where a lot of times is temporary. As opposed to, like, for example, for Pokemon, where I would definitely say leveling up the impact of an evolution is a lot more important, because they are going to be full long-term things. And I know the rules for, like, the more permanent ones. They're separate. As for, like, yeah, it makes sense to, like, do that. It just... There's a certain fun in having a moment in a story like that can be centered on yourself. It just depends on whether or not the party works well with it. If, like, people can effectively agree, like, hey, yeah, no, we're good to give this person their moment, and then, you know, then it can be worked on. But I would agree, like, the sign was the correct decision where you came from. But I can see, like, why Digimon has those moments and how they could also be fun in the story.
Yeah. But as far as that goes, the storyteller can always just put in a thing for that. If they want to have that, they can always just throw some extra power at the player. I just didn't want that. I didn't want that as a core for Scar.
That's kind of what I was mentioning, that I think it's interesting that it can be surprisingly easy to tinker with it. Because, like, yeah, the default bonuses aren't as much as I'd expect, but I assume that was, like, intent, like, by design. Because, yeah, otherwise, that could get very funky very quickly.
Currently has him hallucinating his
fundamentally, the thing that I like is just that thought that, like, even as a rookie or as a champion or whatever, you can definitely become, like, full permanently stronger than even a lot of, like, higher ranked Digimons, because the growth stages don't actually correspond directly to Digimon's strength, much like a Digimon.
And hey there's Pakash, good to see ya.
Hey. Like, yeah, if you have a really strong rookie and they evolve, they're gonna be stronger. But that still doesn't mean this, like, battle-worn veteran absolute menace of an Agumon can't kick a Digimon champion level's ass. Especially if it's like, oh, I just evolved. Look at me, I'm so strong. Whoop. Get out of here. Anyway, when are we gonna get rules for armor evolution?
Check out the deals in the gift
We actually have those.
might be too good.
Oh, really?
They are called forms.
Announcement out.
That's what you're looking at, you're right.
Yeah.
Inspected.
I haven't sat down to look through it. Actually, we did get added.
I
So
still
we
need to
added the-
put out the update officially, but the rules are all in there.
in the SRD.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can.
Bless you.
I was just shivering because it's cold. Not
Oh.
cold, but it's like chilly. Also, I want to make the random comment that I actually really like Digimon World DS's combat music.
There's nothing
I just
to
think it's
buy.
cool. Not the default combat, I really like their boss encounter music. It's a vibe. It feels very Digimon. And I love it. Like, obviously, you're playing a Digimon game, but you know, sometimes you get the music in the Digimon games and it's like, oh, this is good, but I don't know if it feels like Digimon music, you know? And you get ones and it's like, oh yeah, this is Digimon right here. I can hear it. It's like, do you ever play Sun and Moon?
I never finished them, but I did play them.
There is one song at the end of the game for the champion fight. As I don't know if you mind the like spoilers technically. or
Go
not.
for it.
So one of the things Sun and Moon does that's really interesting is you get given a champion theme. Sort of. Because technically in Sun and Moon, if I remember correctly, when you get to the end of the Elite Four, basically, and you win, you are the first champion. The final fight where you fight Kukui, he's not the champion. He's challenging you, the new champion. And when that theme plays, that's because that's your theme.
That does sound very cool.
There's a
And
crate on the helipad.
I'll throw it in your DMs every time I listen to it because I know,
So good news.
like, there's the specific comment that I've had to it that more than anything, this is such an aggressively Pokemon sounding Pokemon song. I'm like, yeah, this doesn't just feel like Pokemon, this is the culmination of Pokemon, that intro, and I'm like, yes. And then the rest of it just continues being that, and I'm like, oh, I love that. But the intro is just like, Pokemon hours.
For me, I think my favorite song from Pokemon is the gym battle theme from Sword and Shield. Like, that was what I was always looking for in a
The
Pokemon
expedition
game.
team are back on the surface. How were the tunnels?
It's like you look at you see the anime and it's always like, yeah, you are in a stadium for these gym battles. What is going on with that?
B push.
I could have sworn I fixed the deer one.
B.
Oh, right. I think I have an idea of what's going wrong. One moment.
Take your time.
Joke.
Yeah, I see what I did wrong.
Нельзя. Нельзя. Проходи по другу, потом вкусняшку получишь.
Alright, don't do the potions for a moment, everybody. I gotta do some stuff here. Alright, so... retro black, retro brown. Good. That. Make sure this is set up right. Cool. And I will redeem it here just to make sure it's working here. Cool. Alright, so that is working again. Now, go back here. This one. That one. All right. Load and that. Why did you not work? Or was I just too fast on redeeming it? That makes retro brown potion. Yeah. I think I was just too fast on redeeming it.
Time now for another fascinating tidbit of information for your edification. Did you know? Today marks the 1-year anniversary of the opening of the world's smallest museum. A red box containing the world's
just hold on a moment. And, sure,
It says
Pakesh.
here that the communication device is so
Don't redeem them
ancient,
yet.
it can only be powered by feeding strange circular discs into it at regular intervals. Museum curator Reginald Trippleworth eagerly proclaimed on the land.
There we go. Got them fixed. Alright, you guys can go back to your previously scheduled TFing.
Visitor in the near future. We'll be right back after this.
Oh, we don't have a supernatural expert. But I just want the plants there, not the ghosties. Ah, hello, Pakesh. You are kind of breaking out a bit there.
Is that better?
That is better.
Okay.
For everyone asking, toilets are located in the bathroom. You're
But anyways, as I was saying before I realized things were broken, yeah. When you're watching the anime, you are participating. You are in a stadium. You're challenging this Pokemon gym leader to a battle in an arena, but none of the games captured that. Not until the Sword and Shield, where they put a huge audience out there for you. They put a massive freaking event, and that music and the chanting of the audience, holy crap, that song gets you pumped.
Returning from underground.
It gets you excited. What was that?
That sounds good then.
Sorry, I was watching dishes. Let's hype cash.
Attention, the expedition team.
And yeah, actually, so I agree and disagree. I think fundamentally it just really depends on what you want the gym battle to be in your game. Because I actually would agree more on that for the Elite Four and Champion fight. Like to me, the highlight of Sword and Shield was the like final battles when you finally battle all of your rivals, and you get their remixed themes, but like with the crowd chanting, and they're literally like chanting like Hop's name as you get like your actual proper final battle, which like honestly Hop was so like overhated. I thought his character art was great. I loved him as like your friendly rival in the game. Man, literally you send him through like a life crisis trying to figure out who he wants to be just because you keep whooping his ass. And it's like, damn, I feel bad for him.
Gift shop.
But fundamentally it depends, right? Because, so for example, in a lot of the animes, sometimes they're stadiums, sometimes they're more like just, well, a Pokemon gym with some bleachers for people to watch. And I think fundamentally it gets to like what you want to get the gym leaders to be. So one thing that Sword and Shield, Sun and Moon did well is making them trials instead of gym battles. And I think to an extent that represents the original spirit of what a Pokemon gym is. Because have you ever watched Pokemon Origins?
I don't recall.
It's a like 4-episode miniseries where it follows Red specifically.
Disinterested guests are reminded that not everything
And
has to be a
his first gym battle against Brock, I think represents what the spirit of a gym battle is supposed to represent. Brock teaches Red throughout the battle. He teaches him about type matchups. He teaches him about what it means to battle, about getting a connection with your partner Pokemon, the things that matter in theory. Like he's being a mentor figure. And I think that works really well when you actually make gym leaders do that. Because a lot of the times in the games, they just kind of are there, and then they say a couple of lines, and then they battle you, and you never see them again.
I do agree on that. They really should have had... Like, Sword and Shield picked up on that quite a bit, but... Yeah, I will say that you are right that Sun and Moon, what I played of it, did that better.
assistant to gift shop.
And even with Sword and Shield, that stops mattering because they are just spectacles. Like the gym leaders are just contestants. It kind of doesn't really matter anymore whether you do that or not. The only like character that really does that is Leon, and it makes perfect sense where he's like the first character in any Pokemon game to be like, hey, you kids stay back, let the adults deal with it. And it's like, what? What do you mean a character is responsible in a Pokemon game? What? You're not sending the like 10-year-old kid to face down the giant
I
death
know,
demon god?
right?
He tries to do it and only lets you because he fails? What are you talking about?
If I recall, he didn't even let you then. You just go up and he's unconscious there, so he doesn't even have a say at that point.
I don't even remember.
But I don't
what
remember
yeah.
for sure.
It's something along those lines. Like he tries and fails, and that's why like you get to do it. But yeah, it literally is like one of the first instances where it's just like, you kids, you let me handle it. Let the adult deal with things. Like, whoa. What? So yeah, and
Yes, sir,
The other
reminded.
notable
You
instances,
haven't
like for
seen them
example,
before.
why I think one of the reasons why Cynthia is
Oh,
a
real
compelling
quick.
champion.
One pause. Syrio, you gotta hover over the screen itself, and there's a little button that you press. And that lets you create a character for me to hire in the game. I am currently looking for botany and science experts. Go ahead.
You might have to full screen for it to let you, because Twitch will ask to like share your identity and stuff. But if you have it on like the minimized view, it might not show it. That's what I had to do for it to like let me. Yeah, right. Like I was saying that, like, I think one of the reasons I find Cynthia a bit memorable is because she appears a lot throughout the game. Like, most of Sinnoh's gym leaders are just kind of there, and they're largely forgettable, because name any one of Sinnoh's gym leaders aside from Rourke, because he's the first one.
I couldn't even do that with that guy.
Yeah. If you're not a nerd like me who knows, like, Fantina, for example, most people don't know most of the gym leaders, and that's fine. Even for Sword and Shield, you'll probably struggle to recall most of their names.
Results. But did you really expect different results?
But that's fine for Sword and Shield, because they're just competitors.
Stay safe. Stay sane.
For
Stay the course. Vote Windsock.
a lot of the other games, I think the missed opportunity is making them more
Some things
interesting
never
characters in the game.
Attention.
They don't all have to be that way, but I think at least a few of them get that. So, for example, I think Black and White did this better, and Black and White 1 and 2 did this better, because
Feel the
For instance-
backhand of justice!
Oh, hey, Guru.
Guru. It does a better job, I think, of giving them a bit more personality, even just with the gyms. Like, I'm pretty sure you've seen him at least a couple times. You know that one gym leader in Sword and Shield, the Driftvale City gym leader, who's the one with like the big cowboy hat, and he dresses all funny. He's like the Pokemon version of Doug Dimmadome.
Dimmerdale!
I'll send the picture. You'll probably know what I mean.
I probably will if you send that.
When I see him, I instantly know who he is. Clay, there we go. That's his name. I always forget his name. Clay.
Still not recognizing him.
Guests are reminded.
Really?
That I will not
But,
match enthusiasm.
Sword and Shield did have two, there were some differences between,
Attention.
the versions on what, leaders were in there. I don't remember which ones were different, but that might be why I don't remember him.
That one's for Sun and Moon.
Caring
Not
for
Sun and Moon. That
plants
one's
is
for Black and
never
White.
easy, but
No,
we
that
do make
was,
it look
I'm
difficult.
pretty sure that was Sword and Shield as well.
The one I sent you, Black and White. That's Clay from Black and White. Black and City.
Oh, I didn't really play Black and White. I could not get into that one.
Probably explains it.
Yeah.
But
I thought you were
see
talking
him
about
meme
Sword
though.
and Shield.
No, you're good. Well, the most memorable one from Sword and Shield is the guy who like was the gym leader and then like is Marnie's brother, I think it was.
I think the
then-
most memorable one from Sword and Shield was the fairy lady.
Actually, you're probably right. She's hilarious. Okay, but like, for one, they made a dark type gym leader and they made him super wholesome, and then they gave him like a kick-ass concert stadium. I think that was cool.
Thieves were caught before they could escape with an exhibit. That was a close one.
I liked it. I thought it was cool. What's his name? Name. Pierce. There we go. I thought he was like the cool gym leader. And yeah, the fairy lady's hilarious. I love her. God, sometimes I don't process how much art there is of some of these gym leaders. Like, I forgot they're new gym leaders. Wild. Also, can I just comment how weird the dragon type gym leader is?
In which game?
Attention. Guests
In Sword and
being
Shield.
bored are reminded
The one that was completely obsessed with himself?
Yes.
Yes.
Because, like, okay. He has a dragon type gym, right?
Yeah.
What are his Pokemon? You would assume 3, 4 dragon types?
Yeah, most of them weren't actually dragon types, were they?
He has 2 of them are dragon types. So he has a Flygon and a Duraludon, both dragon types, that's fine. But he also has a Sandaconda, which is a ground type snake. Not really a dragon, but I guess you can kind of count it as a dragon maybe if you squint. And then he has a Gigalith, and it's literally just a cool looking rock.
I got a rock.
I mean, it's just a rock. I love Gigalith. It's one of my weird favorite, like, it's one of my favorite weird Pokemon in terms of, like, nobody really looks at it, and I think it looks awesome.
is fantastic.
But okay, fine. At least it's a cool looking rock. And then when you rematch him, he gets a Goodra, that's a dragon type. He gets a Turtonator, that's a dragon type. He gets a Flygon, that's a dragon type. He gets a Duraludon, that's a dragon type. What's his other 5th Pokemon? Because he had a cool rock, a dragon, a snake, and a dragon. So if you squint really hard, you can kind of be like, okay, I can see how like that works into the dragon vibe, right? And then he has in the other team a dragon, dragon, turtle dragon, skyscraper dragon. What's the 5th Pokemon? A fucking Torkoal. Like, what? Why do you have a Torkoal? I mean, I know why. Like, it synergizes with the moves or whatever, but like, why a Torkoal? It's so weird. Dragon, turtle. At least the other one's a turtle dragon.
Turtle.
I don't know, I just found it weird. Yeah, basically I was gonna say that in general, like, I think when the gym leaders become a bit more involved in the story, it becomes more interesting to fight them. And play around them. Like Cynthia, I think is interesting because she's there pretty much throughout the whole story. Like at some she just keeps popping up and commenting on stuff, and that makes the final confrontation a little more personal. Which is where I think her fight works really well. Because if you kind of put Gen 4 through the lens, like Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, a lot of it really is like, effectively it leans into what is one of the strengths of Pokemon and the gym leaders, which is that it's a personal journey. It's meant to be like your personal journey, and the gym leaders are both representations of your progress and milestones. But in theory, they're meant to teach you things. That's why almost every gym leader in Gen 1, for example, either is locked behind some sort of mechanic or some sort of puzzle that's not just in the gym, but also like getting to them. Like, oh, you want to fight Erica? You're gonna need access to Cut, my man. You want to fight Blaine? You're gonna have to find the key in the mansion, and that's gonna be a whole hassle. You better be ready to deal with that. One of them I believe requires Surf. Even if you're fighting the one just with the invisible walls, which is probably the easiest of the gyms to access. I mean, they all still kind of try to quote-unquote test you, and that's kind of what it's meant to represent. It's a journey, and gym leaders are little tests of your skills. They are, gameplay-wise, just a progression, like, check. But thematically, that's what they're meant to represent. And I think something like Cynthia works really well because she's there throughout the entire story, helping and or coaching you. And to finally fight her is you're fighting someone that at this point you have somewhat of an attachment to story-wise as a character. And also someone who I think works very well as a mentor figure that you can find to be identifiable, which is why when she's in the anime, it's very fun. She's like an actual character. It's also why, like, I remember Leon very well, because he's probably the first champion who I was actively like, I hate you, I had everything you are. I want to beat your ass. I cannot wait to beat your ass, mister. Oh, I'm the strongest. I'm so lonely at the top. Everything is so boring. I want to punt your face. So, when they're characters, I think it's a lot more fun. It's why probably still the coolest fight in my opinion, despite everything, is actually Kanto's. Specifically the originals and Fire Red and Leaf Green. Because it's your rival. You're constantly racing him. He's always one step ahead of you. And despite everything, he gets to be the champion first. Your fight isn't... It's an interesting one because it's one where your fight isn't actually against a champion. Your rival is the champion fight. Because that's what those games represent with the rival fight. It's not just a genuine rival. It's specifically you battling your rival for first place, and when he gets to be the champion and you fight him, you feel that emotional connection more because number one, he always says smell you later and it's really funny. But number two, like, well, he's your rival. And now he's the champion. He's both the final rival fight and the champion fight both in one, and it works very well. And when you diverge from that, you gotta come up with a good reason. And that's why in Black and White 2, one of the most memorable things is that the gym leaders actually come to help with the fight with Team Plasma. At least I'm pretty sure it's in Black and White 2. It might be in Black and White 1. I think, no, it's in 1. It's in 1. Like, oh look, Team Plasma is doing their take over the region thing. Hey, we're gym leaders. We've come to help. This is our job. Like, oh. What? What do you mean? They do things? It's not like Gen 1/3 where like, oh, the evil team's taking over the streets and they're like battling police. What are the gym leader doing? I don't know, man. I just like rocks. I don't know, man. I just swim.
Yeah.
Like, bro. What the fuck?
Announcement. Exhaustive expeditions.
It's funny.
may be
Literally, the 7th gym leader has the gym closed or to access because there's just a Team Rocket grunt sitting outside the door blocking you from entry, and I'm sitting here like, what's the gym leader doing? Like, what?
You're not wrong. And it always is like, why?
Yeah. In Black and White, they're actually like decently active whenever they get around to doing things. They'll like help you out or like they'll get investigating and then they'll be like, oh, well, now that we took care of this, why don't you meet me back in my gym and we have a fight? You're cool. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Also, yes, like Leon from Sword and Shield. I hated his face originally. I wanted to kick his teeth.
The first game... Oh, it was not the first, but yes, the gym leader in Red and Blue was... the final gym leader was Giovanni.
Yes. Actually, also, Life was correct. It's the 6th one, Sabrina, not Blaine. My bad. Blaine's the one that locks the gym and just goes hide. There's like, what? What are you doing, my man? Sabrina's the 6th one. That's the one where they're parked outside the door. And yes, here, like, actually, like, unironically, that's one of the points that gets raised up in Pokemon Origins, which is like also a kind of an interesting one, which is like, because it gets back into the point of like, what does a gym leader mean? What do they represent? What should they be? And like they're in that final confrontation with Giovanni's like, Red is like, oh, you can't be the gym leader. All the gym leaders I've known are like upstanding people. They're like, they help and stuff, and you're like the leader of Team Rocket. You can't be a gym leader. I thought that was interesting.
Attention. The expedition team are
Sabrina?
leaving now. Please say
Honestly, Sabrina might be. I just always fight her as the 6th gym leader.
So, when it comes to Red and Blue, it was possible to sequence break. There were a few points where you could go fight different gym leaders at different levels.
Yeah. Actually, to be fair, yes and no for Light Pop. Sabrina's meant to be the 6th badge. It's just that Sabrina and Koga have very similar level Pokemons, so you're basically fighting kind of the same vibe. It's like the most excusable of the sequence breaks.
I don't think it was Misty that you could skip forever.
the guests.
I think... I know there was one that you could skip, but I don't remember which. But then you'd have to go fight them anyways when it comes to fight the Elite Four.
As far as I know, yeah.
Because you got checked on whether you had every badge the entire way. Yeah, I didn't think it was Misty. I feel like it's Lieutenant Surge that you could skip.
Yeah, you need Misty, I'm pretty sure, because you need Cut.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. You can skip Lieutenant Surge. You can skip Erica. You can definitely skip Sabrina. I'm pretty sure you can skip Koga.
Guests left
You might.
speechless by an
I don't remember
exhibit
if you need the
or
6-1
reminded to
force
snap
surf
out
or
of
not.
it.
Yeah, you can't skip Misty. You need to you need to clear that badge. And so you can't skip Brock, you can't skip Misty. Yeah, so you can't skip Koga. I was pretty sure you could skip Sabrina. I'm pretty sure you can't skip Koga. Well, like in theory, you could skip a lot of Koga and then just do Sabrina. Like you could basically do Brock, Misty, go right to Sabrina, and then go backwards and then beat Koga, Erica, Lieutenant Surge. But if you want to progress further, you can't skip Koga. You could at most do like beat 1 and 2, then go for Koga, and then I'm pretty sure you can go for Blaine.
Oh, for Pokermans.
That's almost your lot for today. But first, some breaking news.
Check who lets you use Y.
Widespread excitement at the discovery of the long-sought-after droopy discs.
You need to be
thought by some
Lieutenant
to be
Surge for
proof of
Fly, I
alien
think.
visitations, was dashed today.
Which
when
you
it was revealed that the
technically do
shine
not
machines were, in
need.
fact, an obsolete form of media once used to store data and play audio. The two 16-year-olds who made the discovery after discovering that information and music don't exclusively exist in a magical cloud in the sky. I've been Haley Von Trowell, and you've been listening to Digging Deeper. Thanks for sticking with me.
How you doing, Bakash?
Pretty good, honestly.
Our gift shop has
Air quality's
low
getting better,
prices.
so it's
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
breathable, literally. Har har.
Funny you say that, because here we've been having the exact opposite notice every day forever now.
What, air being that bad down there, or?
Yeah. Air quality alerts.
Yep. It's, icky. But there's not much we can do, unfortunately, because, well, it's forest fires, so... You know, grin and bear it, sadly.
I see what you did there, and I don't like
Yeah.
it.
Oh, but it's good, bear pun.
No.
We'll give you a nice cold drink and a breathing mask.
Zim doesn't like puns.
Hi, nice
finds
to
my-
meet you, Gib Gab.
My name is Razim.
Could have sworn we met already, but apparently not.
Stating the obvious.
Yeah, air quality 102 right now. Yesterday was 158, and the day before we were actually the most polluted in the world. Huzzah! Yeah, we would beat out places like India, which is traditionally like just terrible. It was like inside, everything's sealed up, and you could still feel it in your eyes, your nose, your mouth. You're eating or drinking stuff, and it's like, soot flavor.
Photography is officially permitted,
Tastes like Victoria.
unofficially frowned upon.
Tastes like charcoal briquette.
I have no idea what those numbers mean.
100 or higher is poor. 150
There's a
and
crate
over is
on the
considered
helipad.
terrible.
Oh, and the expedition
Ah.
team have returned safely. Also good news.
Is
I'm
it
going to
150
guess
good?
they are something of parts per million or something.
Yeah.
I can define it. Check.
Since most of it is just high altitude, but it just gets in everywhere because it's such fine particulate. And it's not like you could just, use an air freshener or something. You'd have to have HEPA filters to suck the crap out, which is why a lot of people are told it's like, well, if it's bad, go to your nearest hospital or medical center, because usually, they've got the
The expedition
HEPA filters
team
going
not
constantly
announcing
because,
now.
well,
I'm always
it's
so
good.
glad that I don't have to go.
And barring that, well, get your COVID masks back out and breathe through them. Actually, we got the nice cloth ones that you can, wash constantly because, then you get the cooling effect of the cool water and extra filtration.
The expedition team are back on the surface. How are the tunnels?
Yay, flying machine!
Yeah, there we
Happy
go.
young
So,
Zim's on the flying machine.
the U.S. Air Quality Index is divided into a few different levels. It doesn't specifically measure like a thing, it's just a broad overall index. Just to say, like, it just measures a bunch of different things because it's really hard to measure pollution, actually. Like, what do you consider? What do you measure? What kind of chemicals? What kind of compounds? How much of it is good? How much of it is bad? How impactful is any of them? And that requires a lot of mathing. Like, for example, how do you compare particulate matter from cars versus carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide or sulfur? They come from different things, they do different things, and they're differently bad. So it's really hard to measure any one of them, which is why we just have an index. We just say, roughly speaking, this is kind of how it works, and it's different in different parts of the world. It'll mean different things.
The tat won't sell itself.
The US goes from a 0 to 500 people to 500 system. If you want the very short of it, it's that 0 to 500 is good day to be outside. 50 to 100 is moderate, air quality is acceptable. For most people, this is fine. Try to avoid, for example, prolonged exercise outside. If you're unusually sensitive, if you have any breathing issues or the like, you probably want to be careful with it. Otherwise, you're probably fine. Above 100, if you're in the sensitive group, if you experience already adverse health effects, probably be careful going outside. If you have asthma, keep your medicine handy. If you have heart disease, be careful. Everyone else, probably still fine. So like even at 100 to 150, the general average person is probably fine.
Keep your friends cold and
From
your
150 to
extremities
200,
colder with the frost
that
dragon
starts to be
cooling
bad.
system. Coming
You
soon
start to get
from
some
Bungle
requirements that like, hey,
Technologies.
so if you're a sensitive person, try to not go outside, period. Try to just stay indoors. If you're average person, don't have any like sensitivity issues with pollution. Try to just not do a lot outside. You know, take breaks. Don't do that much exercise outside. 200 to 300 if you're someone sensitive. Try to avoid us going outside. Period. If you're not sensitive, consider moving indoors. 300 to 500, just don't go outside.
Alright, now you're hired, Sirio. I, wasn't looking. Sorry. So now I need, some science experts. Because all three of you that put in there were for botany.
Well, plants are cool.
I put in a security guard.
Excuse me. But yeah, like, it's weird because when you see something rated as like, oh, it's a moderate or unhealthy air quality, they usually lean more on, like the US Air Quality Index leans more on air quality for people sensitive to the effects of air quality. Even up to like 150, if you're not part of the sensitive group, literally the index will be like, oh, you're unlikely to be affected. You're probably fine. So it's a little skewed in that aspect. But 0 to 100 generally just means acceptable to good air quality. Below 50 is pretty much like good air. It's like you go outside and you breathe and you're like, damn, it's good air. It smells good.
Countryside.
Not even just countryside, just good air. Some cities can have good air.
That's why we like doing our little country rides if we can on the weekend. You get to hit the garage sales and the chip trucks and all the other fun things out there. I cannot believe people held up a chip truck last month.
Why?
They broke in and they took the food.
Oh, held up. Like, I thought you meant like held up a chip truck. Like they just like lifted it. It was like, why is that unbelievable? I feel like that's something people could do.
Someone is stuck in the museum.
They took about $3,000-4,000 worth of food out of them. It's like, if you're that hungry, like, I mean, come on, you know.
Some people.
Yeah, there's always that some people that sadly. You can't do a darn thing about them.
Yep. Also, I hate cars so much. I quickly took a browse through the EPA's like trends for air pollution. And it's like, oh, it turns out since the US instituted like national standards to reduce pollution, pollution went down. Imagine that. Surely that can't be real. You're telling me a law against pollution has good effects? No way. Don't believe you. And
it's more fiddly reporting.
No, I mean it's true. Like air quality used to be a lot worse in many ways. Like it's better nowadays than it was before.
Oh yes.
Unfortunately,
some laws are being repealed as we speak, so like, you know, they can crank more ickiness out.
Yeah, cool. Because like one of the things that like doesn't help is which is one of the things that I was gonna say. Like I hate cars. Particulate matter keeps being a problem, and specifically particulate matter 2.5. And a lot of that is cars. If you literally look at like a lot of the pollution trends, a lot of them have decreased a lot. And somehow cars, like as much as they've decreased, they still just remain right on the national standard line. And it took them a lot to just go below the national standard. It's just like, bruh, why? But one of the reasons why is because regulations on cars are really tricky. So like, for example, why is why are SUVs very popular in the US? It's because basically if you can qualify your SUV as a light truck, then it has different regulations than a sedan, even if they're basically built on the same chassis or like the same body or whatever. You can like skirt around regulations with cars so much, and manufacturers would rather just sell you a car that's worse than deal with regulations, and then just market it as better. It's just like I hate every manufacturer so much, but also like God, I hate cars. Looking at my air index quality in the city, everything is great, and then you get to like the particulate matter 2.5 trend, and it's like, yeah, almost all of this is from internal combustion engine vehicles. So all of this is from like cars that burn gasoline, basically, and it single-handedly yeets up that trend in the area that I'm looking at. It's like, oh, God, I hate cars.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so happy we have a vaguely decent bus, train, subway system here.
Should be bigger. They don't want to spend the money on it, even though there is money.
Oh yeah, we're getting a hovercraft apparently next year too.
Hovercraft?
Yeah, so you can scoot across the lake in 30 minutes instead of, you know, taking the drive.
You're getting like a ferry hovercraft kind of thing?
Yeah.
Oh, those are cool. I like those.
From Toronto to Niagara Falls, apparently.
You know how like it lives rent-free in some people's brains that I said I'd like to see how close I can get to the sun, if I could, hypothetically, Sim?
Yes.
Sorry, just you mentioned it, Pikesh, and now I just wanted to make the offhand comment that I don't want to do it for obvious reasons, but I would be very curious what it's like to be stuffed in a barrel and go down Niagara Falls, like those like old school story styles.
Oh god, yeah.
How must that
People
feel?
have lived through that.
I mean, I know, but also people have died during that, and I don't want to die. But like, don't do it. But how would it feel to stand at the bottom of Niagara Falls? You know, that would be terrifying.
I don't. You're not standing at the bottom of it anymore.
Some of you are
Probably
getting
not.
awfully close.
You're now kind of part of it.
Well, like, you know, if they built like a little platform and you can just step under it, I mean, how would it feel to get crushed under the weight of all that water?
Probably pretty bad.
Or like, if you could just like stick your hand in there.
And it's nice going to the falls and seeing the stuff around there, but I mean, oh, it's such a tourist trap. Like, I'm just so glad that, I mean, the best part of the falls is on the Canadian side, so you can take the Maid of the Mist and you can go under the part of the waterfall, and you could tour the old hydroelectric station that Tesla had a hand in, and, you know, kind of cool old stuff.
I don't know.
Tesla
This
isn't
is
Nikola Tesla, just to clarify.
this is sounding like Canadian propaganda. How dare you?
We stopped them, obviously.
Propaganda.
I mean, I'm sorry. We all know the most important part of Canada is the long dark, because the game is like, what if you had to survive in Canada, but Canada was real, unlike real life?
They're still making expansions for that game, aren't they?
I actually have been meaning to play it because apparently they released the visual enhancements update, they called it, and apparently they made some like interesting changes. And I realized I hadn't played that game in years.
Or Noir. How long can you survive before the polar bears come get you? Nom nom nom.
Which also, it reminds me, I had a thought when joining the stream and I completely forgot about it until now. I really want a survival game, but submarine.
You
Or
mean
to be
Barrow
more
Trauma?
clear-
I was about to say, isn't that barotrauma?
Or
That's-
Subnautica?
So that's kind of the thing. They don't really scratch the itch
Yes,
because
stop poking these
Subnautica has the problem of having like good submarines, and Barotrauma has the problem where you're playing more of like a horror adventure game than necessarily a survival game, if that makes sense.
Announcement.
So
The
I want
museum's
something like
new exhibit.
Subnautica, but Barotrauma
Don't know
coded,
what it is
and
yet.
maybe less dealing with the horrifying creatures that live in the depths of the ocean, and more like, hey, submarines are kind of awful. Let's deal with it. Cause like I've been looking at like some submarine like stories recently, and it's like, huh. Specifically, I was looking at the story of the Nautilus, where it's like, so let's take this World War I submarine, right? We want to get to the North Pole, but getting to the North Pole is brutally hard. So how do we get to the North Pole? Oh, well, what if we go under the ice, and that way we can get to the North Pole? Because mind you, as much as like you just see the North Pole and Antarctica as just kind of those icy places, even until relatively recently, they were basically unexplored territory, completely uncharted. We didn't know a lot about them, and getting to them was really difficult. It still is kind of difficult, but obviously, like, we can basically just fly there now. But like, especially before, when you had to go on boat, planes weren't reliable. The winds and ice sheets of the North Pole
Yes, I'm
were
reminded that I don't
brutal.
know where things are. I'm not a map.
Global warming also kind of made the North Pole a little weirdly easier to navigate, because now you just have a lot less ice, which is depressing, but still. And like, if you're gonna talk about the South Pole, it's like, oh yeah, let's go to Antarctica. Hey, have you heard about the Roaring 60s? If you go past 60 latitude, the winds get really strong, so do the waves. The ocean has no landmass that really blocks the winds, so the wind just continues traveling, and the ocean becomes really, really angy. Are you on a big ship? I mean, if you've ever seen footage of it, it's literally like, oh, look at this like giant cargo ship. Look at how it just goes up and down and up and down and up and down, and it looks like it's in the middle of the storm, and then it's like, hey captain, how's the weather? Oh, it's a really nice day out, it's actually pretty calm. Usually it's worse. I'm like, Jesus Christ. What the fuck?
Yeah, up and down is good. It's when it's up and down and crack, then it's like, oopsie.
Those ships don't usually crack at those kind of waves.
Oh, you'd be surprised how much footage there is out there of them unfortunately doing just that.
Yes and no. It depends. So for one, it depends on the kind of storm. So like, those kinds of winds and waves are normal, and ships can normally deal with them pretty well. When it gets to a storm and those like waves get even worse, the weather gets a lot worse, then you kind of see it more. But even then, a lot of it just depends on the ship's age, place, and standards of which they were built. Because up until like 30 years ago, shipbuilding standards were kind of awful. Like, people make a whole deal about the Titanic, but even until like the 1980s, cargo ships were honestly kind of really shoddy and poorly built, and they would do exactly that. Like, you would see like, look at the state-of-the-art ship. Oh, it turns out like we have these watertight compartments that like you can open from above, so you can put stuff in them or do maintenance on them, and they have these like giant, basically unbreakable steel like lids over them. It turns out if enough water goes over them, they just like break inwards. Why do we make them swing inwards instead of outwards? Well, it's easier to like do maintenance or whatever, I don't know. Come up with some random excuse. And you're just sitting there like, why would you make those design decisions? That sounds like it should just be a rule. Well, they've made a lot of these things rules. But shipbuilding standards were really shoddy. So if you see some of the older ships that still haven't been like updated to be more up to code with like bigger international standards or national standards, you'll get a lot of those. But then you're looking at like a 50-year-old ship and you're like, oh yeah, that you probably shouldn't be sailing a 50-year-old ship through like hurricane force winds and giant storm surges. That sounds like a bad idea. Especially if that ship hasn't been like refit or renovated since the 1970s. Sorry, you're saying?
That's
So
why they
many
call them
ships
shadow
have
fleets.
not.
It's hard to
You know,
catch.
that's why they call them shadow fleets. You know, they register in nonsense countries, you know, with third or fourth party ownership, and they do generally bad things, like, you know, turning off their IDF in the middle of the ocean, then scurrying around, because, you know, they're generally not sailing the nicest stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, like, but yeah, basically if you go for, like, well-built ships, even, like, for cheap, well-built ships nowadays, those kinds of things aren't really that much of a problem. Because it turns out we can build good ship. In fact, we can build very good ship. And then company goes, but what if we save money by using cheaper material?
Yep.
And then everything starts to go wrong. And then the company has to be forced to use good material, and then they complain. And then you're like, well, that sounds like a good idea. And then people go like, no, but company money. And then, you know, that becomes a whole ordeal. And you're sitting here like, are we already forgetting the fact that they made a ship that sunk and that killed like 200 people, and that's why this law got put in the first place? What's wrong with everyone?
Because lives, unfortunately, are cheap, and they keep saying that.
I mean, yeah. But yeah, the ships are cool. I love ships. I love seeing our, like, weird, half indestructible fortress cargo ships that you can throw into the middle of a hurricane, and the ship is like, yeah, I don't care. This is fine, actually. And yeah. Basically what I was getting to is that the ocean around the poles is very mean and very rude and very stupid, and the Nautilus was a submarine that they kitted out specifically for Arctic exploration, but we're still talking about the early 1900s. So the ship looked more like an early game Subnautica submarine, but even worse. Like, to give you an idea of what kind of submarine they were sailing, right? It didn't have heating, because it's an early submarine. It had a lot of issues remaining underwater for extended periods of time, and it had to be refit. We're talking like a World War I submarine. They basically had no place to sit because it was really cramped. They had to take turns with bunks to get rest.
Yep, hot bunking.
And there was a single toilet for like 20 odd people, I believe it was. Which was right next to the engines. So if you wanted to go to the bathroom, I hope you don't mind having two obnoxiously loud engines next to you. They're not gonna hurt you or anything, just, you know. I hope you don't feel conscious about it.
I would not mind that so much, because I do not want somebody hearing me using the restroom. Don't know about you,
Yeah.
I just don't want that.
Well, that's fine and all, but I just want you to understand that this is like open, like there's no wall for the toilet.
Oh.
It's just like there by the engines. Yeah, you think you're getting
it's
privacy
got a little
here? We don't got
curtain.
room for this.
It's got a little draw curtain you can pull around it.
Probably that's what they had. I don't even know what they did. That ship was terrifying.
But either way, I am still a little confused on what exactly you're wanting.
Alright, so what I was getting to is, what I found interesting about the story is that the ship had a lot of issues, and like it broke down getting from New York to England. And one of the things that they ended up becoming was actually really good at working with the ship. They proceeded to make a lot of custom adjustments, work with the ship, tinker with stuff, and make it more comfortable and better. And I found that kind of an interesting experience to consider. So basically, the ship did go to the Arctic. It did sail around. And it gave me the idea that, like, one of the problems in these kind of games is that one of the things that makes Subnautica good is you have an end journey, an end destination, and you're just working towards it. Whereas something like Subnautica, you're kind of doing the same.
You use Subnautica for both of these.
Sorry, Bear Trauma, you have an end goal, and you're just
Okay.
kind of working towards these. for Subnautica, you're kind of doing the same, but I don't feel like you get that same kind of scrapping around feeling with the submarine that you can get in Barotrauma, right? Like you're not
Agreed.
like tinkering the terrain, and I like that. But both of them, but the thing that part of what makes them engaging is that you are headed towards an end goal. And I think for a survival game, it'd be neat to have something that combines both of those Barotrauma Subnautica vibes into like you tinkering and working with this really raggedy, jagged submarine kind of thing, and having to get to your end goal. You get a more like harrowing kind of experience. And I think there's something that could be doubly cool about that, like horror-coded survival vibe, where you don't really need to be afraid of the creatures. You should be afraid of the fact there is now an ice sheet over you and you can't surface to get air to recharge your batteries. Or that your engines are making really weird creaking noises and you're currently in a situation where, because you decided to take a rest stop a few days ago, you can't really stop right now, or else you're gonna be delayed, and getting a delay isn't good when the delay means the ice sheets are thicker. Your journey's gonna be harder.
In exactly the same
Time's
way.
a ticking. You're on a schedule.
So frustrated by my inability to know
I
what
just,
he meant,
I feel like
but
that's
he
cool.
snapped his pencil in
Doubly
half.
so if you start to
That
like
was the day
handle
I
more
understood
oceanic
fractions. Well, it's still
problems,
the most I've
like
ever understood
currents.
fractions. It's teachers like that who make
So yeah,
learning
I
come
think there's a
alive.
cool survival game there.
Yes, CJ. Yes, he is.
I like ships. I like boat.
You like both. You like
That's
stab.
submarine. I want the unholy baby of Subnautica and Barotrauma. But without the spooky monsters. Because that's my issue with this, the Cyclops. It's too new. You know?
You Cyclopean.
Yeah, the Cyclops is the submarine you get in Subnautica. It's meant to be like your little mobile base.
Attention. If you touch a botany exhibit and become unwell or otherwise digested, the museum is sorry.
Look, CJ,
but not
I may yap a
responsible.
lot about ships, but at least I don't yap about planes.
Who's the plane junkie?
There's a few. Get delimited in here. So, if you want to hear some yapping, get delimited in here and ask him why the Su-57 is better than the F-35, and you're gonna get a lot of yapping. That's some free chat interaction for you, Zim.
Understood. Understood.
Yeah. You want to beef up the numbers, just ask that. Just ask why the Su-57 is better than the F-35, and you're gonna get delimited yapping hard. I can't say that, because I know that's untrue. So if I say that, he knows I'm baiting. I'm pretty sure. But if someone more clueless about playing says it, you know. And yeah, CJ, that's why... Sorry, what?
Oh, I was about to make the comment. It's like, oh, it's like the Ukrainian new aircraft carrier that they drive on land that's driving Russia nuts.
What? The pickup truck?
No, the 18-wheelers.
Be asked to pick a
Yeah.
side.
I hate how his combat was accurate.
What he's already tried to make a model of it.
Of course. And CJ, well, that's why I'm saying that that's like free chat interaction for them, because you're gonna get a lot of posts probably, and it's just gonna be like, feed the algorithm.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Keeps him employed.
Employed? Is your boss gonna fire you, Zim?
I mean, my boss is an asshole, so maybe.
Guests are prepared for certain levels of monotony, but they're not
That sounds
prepared for
rough.
this.
Yeah.
You should unionize.
Also steals his socks.
Unfortunately, none of my coworkers are willing to go that route. They're too scared of losing their job.
I'll unionize with you.
Well, yeah, but what is that gonna do?
Technically, we're coworkers, right? When we play AR together, that counts as working together, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess that might work.
Yeah, so technically we're coworkers. Oh god.
Yeah, but we work for free. We work for exposure.
I think Tenny flew flicks deer.
Hello there, Tanny. And yes, this is my old deer persona.
Vandalizing. We stopped them, obviously.
Which is actually funny, because like I'm pretty sure one of the first icons that I adopted was a deer. It's actually still my the Steam profile I have. If you look at it, it's just a deer.
No,
that?
Sirio, I'm not unionized.
The Duke Union.
Oh, hey, Artie. Really need a prehistory expert, but hey. I'll just get a science one.
He could join a union, but you know they demand payment in eggs, and well, eggs are precious.
Oh yeah, the union fees. I can't afford those.
We'll turn on the member taking the longest. Always.
Yeah, I see you've got snacks up for donations. What sort of snackos are you hunting for?
Whatever. Nothing in particular.
What is so tasty?
It's just so rare seeing something like snacks.
I just put that on there. Because whatever I wind up putting it towards, it's important for survival.
The more you pump, the more you feel.
Snacks are important to survival.
Food is.
IRS might debate that.
Actually, the I can claim snacks on my taxes. I may be the only employee here, but office snacks are still tax deductible.
Taxes.
Guests are stuck in the museum.
God, I am so terrified of getting audited. As far as I am aware, I'm not doing anything wrong. But that's the thing. I have no idea if that's accurate. I have done my best with the information that is made available and such. But it's not like the you know, H&R Block and all those other tax companies make it very, very difficult to actually know if you're doing things right. But I am
because
doing my best.
To the expedition team.
They want you to constantly pay for them. Be their good victim.
You're not a victim. You're a customer. You might as well.
Or you're just getting accustomed.
Yeah, pretty sadly.
Expedition team returning from 2.C.
Well, folks, Zim would like snacks. If you could donate to the Snacks Fund, please feed snacks.
Are you
Or
doing,
egg.
So real quick, are you doing send to us and tomorrow?
I'm planning on it.
Okay. I was just curious. No
But-
reason in particular, don't worry.
You know,
I mean, I know the
Sunday curse.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot I had this. And finally try these. Let me find them.
Okay then.
For a second there, I thought that was someone's stomach.
Guests should wander around.
That was kind of
until
jorking
they've
it, but I
had enough
respect it.
museum.
It was what? Did you even just use English?
Don't worry about it.
These new kids nowadays, you know, they're out there jorking it. But Tish.
I know at least one person looked at their Discord for the Discord message one, and I'm happy.
Jibab wants your attention.
Yeah, that Jigab.
Attention. Guests feeling bored are reminded that they're not all that.
I also just played it because I had a bird, and I just played this because I had Toshime. Hey Zim. Do you mind the video getting demonetized?
What do you mean?
I have the crab dance but longer video.
Oh no, that one's fine.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, it's the one from Super Animal Royale.
Oh, fair enough. What's this one?
Hey, look, it's a sleeping Dur.
That door needs some oil.
If you take pictures at the museum,
Yes.
but no
Or
one ever
lube.
looks at them, was there actually a
Oh my.
Or Furry.
expedition team?
Yeah, my new... Oh, what's this?
Jibgab is laughing.
You're having a
I'm not
bed.
having fun. I don't know what you're asking.
I've sent Zim an event.
Jive Gob says oh.
Ow.
SerioCon wants everyone to hydrate.
Fine.
I have
Delicious.
Monk! I need a monk!
What is that one from?
That is from Age of Empires 2.
I don't know. Oh my
I'm
God,
surprised
this
you
one was-
didn't.
I'm more of an Age of Empires 3 person.
Your master allows that?
Look. If he didn't, that
Jibgab
wouldn't
is
work.
watching the sip water.
I love this game. But look, if he didn't allow me to Age of Empires 3, it won't work out. It's that simple, okay?
Huh.
Age of Empires 3 is a necessity.
If you say so.
We do. There's boundaries, okay? Boundaries are important.
Joke.
Oh, look at that sleepy face.
Oh. Yeah, we're not sending anybody there.
Sleepy face.
I do hope at least one person looked.
I see you.
Okay.
I got a bunch of random random sounds and such.
I realized. I don't think I've done the beta one for the general cards. I just picked it up last time because I was like, oh, it's actually like good price.
Approaching. Guests are reminded that they move in hordes.
I command pure chaos!
Leaving now.
Kinda.
Final call for wherever it is you're going.
I miss all those cards.
They're still there.
They're still there. They still get played from time to time.
Jibe Gab is dancing with the crabs. But for longer.
But for longer. I will say, by the way, when I played it during the episode by accident in Wild Traditions, I still didn't think it was gonna be as long as it was. So I'm like, I'm very curious how much longer this is.
1:30.
Bruh. Oh, I didn't play. I think I played the Confidence one, not this one.
Speaking of things I miss, is our gelatin ghost doing okay?
Yeah, he's alright.
Now, a spot of news. It's been reported that Hogsport Town Council have turned down a
No, the
sizable bit of
ghosty goo
jumbo
whiskers.
McNally for the Hogsport Lighthouse. McNally had hoped to install the lighthouse in a new spire-like wing of the Jumbo Museum for display to select patrons. Instead, the lighthouse
It's one of those, you know, you get used to them after a while, and it's like, I think it's been almost 2 months now or something? Like,
unreasonable, unfair, and undiplomatic.
Yeah. I literally just got a message from him.
hope it's a good one.
From assistant. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, when you next contact him, I say hi. And I'm still lurking on the bookshelf.
Announcement. Analysis complete. Learn anything good?
Do you have a list of like artists that you brokerage for? Or is it more just sort of like whoever's free at that moment and we throw you work and then you throw them the contact deets?
zgf.art.
Right.
It's a website I put together for him.
You all artists.
It was not a
did.
cheap site that I put together for them, but it is a site I put together for them.
The museum's scientific facilities are not open to guest inquiries. Figure it out yourself.
Always a fun question.
What's a fun one?
Oh, when will my art be done?
Ah, yes.
Assistant needed in the gift
Are you
shop.
seeing some artists, you know, with 80 or 100 person queue lines, and you're like, why would I ever throw money there?
Attention. Thieves have been prevented from escaping.
I mean, we guarantee that you will get your art. It just might take some time.
Yeah.
But I do my best to keep the queues relatively low.
Use R's and Z's. Oh, Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar, why? No. Yeah. Just drink half a can and, you know, at least get the flavor.
But Zim, I've been waiting like a month for my art. Where is my commission?
Aquarium is dirty. That can't be good for the fish.
You should just edit that, like, if somebody asks that, you should just send them the little, like, clip of, like, where is my super suit?
Maybe not.
But it's tempting.
Like right now, it's currently the, for Anthrocon, where is my fursuit parade?
What's an Anthrocon? Isn't that technically most cons?
Well, that's the FurCon. Anthrocon.
I don't believe in a FurCon. I believe in every FurCon simultaneously. Dab.
Expedition.
When somebody changes their Steam name to something really different, I don't process it. Who are you? I have to go look up who you are. Why do you do this? What do you mean, Lightpaw?
Hi there, Lightpaw.
Announcement. Guests stuck in the museum should wait for help.
Like everyone's got at least one story, if not them, a friend they know, where it's like, you know, yeah, the artist got paid 6 years ago and I'm in the queue still.
Stolen exhibit has been retrieved.
We thankfully do not have anything that
No one
bad.
takes our stuff.
Like 6 months? Yes, occasionally. But we do not get that high.
Oh, I was joking. Please.
Before we go, let's read something from one of our listeners. This
But
one
I
is
mean, that's
from
fair.
Manny near Sweaty
I
Palms.
think too much about
Nice.
whenever I get art.
Ricky,
Like, I
always
want to
listen
make it a
you
good art.
in the car.
I'm like, I want
Thanks
to
for
want it.
making driving a
So when I
little
get art,
less
I'm like,
dull.
yes,
Don't
give-
know, Manny.
give-
Thank you.
And then I
You
get
see,
impatient
when
because
I'm
like it's
shut
something I
in
really
this
want
dark
whenever I
room.
do get one. It just is once in a millennia that I ever get an art.
Me more, it's less art, and I just might as well grab you know, up and coming good private furry comics instead.
And that rusty smell.
I've got so many
Really,
old commissions
I feel
that need to be
transported
scanned
all
in. I've
over
got
this
stuff that's
glorious county
30
of
years
ours.
old that's never
I'm
hit
on
a
beach,
scanner.
I'm up a mountain, and I'm cruising down our endlessly potholed motorways. And now I'm going home.
The expedition team are departing now. I'm always so glad that I don't have to go.
But at least, you know, a good comic, I can just crack it open anytime and reread and enjoy. Usually with a sandwich or a bag of chips.
Sometimes I do forget, Pikash. You're a little bit of a boomer.
A little bit? I think he is an actual boomer.
Not that old.
Well, isn't Boomer, what, 65 and up?
Okay, never mind, you might be right.
Not this again.
Yeah, something like that. I'm pretty sure you're not one. You're just like closer to my parents' age than Sim is.
Thank you, autocomplete. I was typing Boomer and I got Boomerang Health.
Yo, I want to play with the Boomerang. I haven't done one in forever.
1946 to 64. Okay.
Even my parents aren't boomers.
Guests waiting to buy a ticket are asked to bear with us indefinitely.
Playing the old Digimon games, they're so slow. God bless the speed up. On my action replay, yeah. Shout out if you had one as a kid and didn't know how to use it.
Gen X, there I am.
Yep.
The gen that people fall into, I swear, changes depending on who you ask, though.
Yeah. You have to pre-establish a definition because you're gonna run into two problems, which is number one, edge cases. Like people who were born on the edges are hard to define for one. And for two, what a generation is completely meaningless. It means nothing. Like, okay, I make comments on them and I joke about them, but generally speaking, they don't mean anything. They have nothing to do with who you are. All that matters is like that it identifies a time period basically when you grew up. But even then, like, what does that mean? How does someone who lived in Nebraska and was a relatively poor person during the 1980s differ from someone who was born into a rich, affluent family in downtown New York in 1980? Just such completely different experiences. There's nothing their age will tie them together aside from some of the main events they're going to have lived through. And even then, they're going to have experienced those events differently. That person from New York is not going to have experienced 2001 the same as the person who lived in rural Nebraska.
Rock Lounge. Ancient Pointians walked so we could sit down. Makes you proud to do nothing.
My god, they actually put a TV in there.
This is 100% Flintstones.
Yes.
We're currently not taking donations.
Flintstones.
Not as
Meet
many
a
as we could.
Flintstone.
Donation stands are full.
But yeah, basically what I'm saying is you're correct. Generations don't mean anything. It's just a really little shorthand thing. It matters if you're trying to do research on them, specifically using them as a gauge for lived experiences of people, and because it's really easy to ask someone, are you this, rather than to be like, when were you born, period. And then like, what do you do with the age? You have to make some sort of qualified determination on how age matters. But even for research purposes, it kind of still remains pointless. It's only relevant when you can draw a parallel to the demographics. So like, for example, if it turns out 80% of Gen X does this thing, and then nobody but Gen X does it, that tells you something. And then they become relevant. But otherwise, I mean, it doesn't mean anything that you were born like 10 years earlier than me. Because what do you do with that information? That doesn't make you anything or anyone. It's who you are that makes you who you are, not when you were born. It's just really funny to call someone old and point and laugh at them. As I cry internally, knowing that's where I'm gonna get it one day. And some kid is one day gonna call me old and I'm gonna like wither and die.
Haven't you already had people call you old?
Yes. I felt like you do when you talked to me the other day when I talked to someone who was like 19, and I was like, oh god, is this how Zim feels when he talks to me?
Announcement. Staff in need of medical attention. Thank you.
Not even the slang, just the energy. You think I have a bad attention span? I welcome you, someone who was looking at those like stupid Play-Doh videos on their phone while talking to me. Terrifying. Oh, there's Limited. You can ask the question now, Zim.
Maybe, but unfortunately, this is where I'm going to be calling it for today.
EP time.
Yeah. So, thank you everybody for joining us on the stream today. That was 2 Point Museum. Check out our website, zgfgaming.com. We've got links for our Discord, Telegram, Mastodon, Blue Sky, Patreon, and more. There on the website, as well as down in the description below through our link tree. Thank you to my patrons, tippers, and subscribers. It is your support that keeps this channel alive and going. I cannot do this without your guys' help and your support, so thank you. Consider becoming a patron over at patreon.com/zgfgaming. It's one of the best ways to support the channel, though you can also do so by sharing the stream around, grabbing packs of cards to stream loot, using our Humble Bundle partner link, or grabbing some merch over at zgfgaming.store. But for now, thank you all so much for joining, and I bid you all the most fondest adieu.
Goodbye.